Today we will be learning about the laws of exponents. Let's say you have an algebraic expression x, okay? So x is an algebraic expression, and you have a positive integer p, okay? Then we say na x raised to p ay equal sa x times x times x times x dot 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 x, wherein yung number of times na yan ay p times. Okay? So basically, for example, you have 2 to the fourth, equal yan sa 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. You have 4 times. Okay? So let's introduce the laws of exponents. No? So the first law is the product law. Okay, so the product law states that, so if you have an algebraic expression again na x, and you have exponents m and n, you say na x to the m times x to the n equals sa x to the m plus n. Okay? So this is relatively easy to prove. Kasi if you imagine, let's say we have 2 cubed times 2 squared, tama? Equal dapat yan sa 2 raised to 3 plus 2, which is equal to 2 raised to 5. So kung isipin mo, yung 2 cubed ay 2 times 2 times 2, tama? Yung 2 squared ay 2 times 2. And ilan ba yan? So 5 yan, no? So equal yan sa 2 raised to 5. Okay? So yun lang yung mini proof natin, no, for our idea. So let's go to a much difficult example, no? How do we simplify 4x squared times negative 2x to the 10 times 3x? Okay? So ito, i-multiply lang natin lahat ng coefficients, no? So you have 4 minus 2 and 3, no? And then i-add lang natin yung mga exponents nung mga x's natin, no? So 2, 10, and 1. No? So you have a 1 there. So 4 times negative 2 times 3. Then x raised to 2 plus 10 plus 1. No? 4 times negative 2 is negative 8 times 3, that is negative 24. And x raised to 2 plus 10 plus 1 is 13. Okay? So ganun lang kadali. So ang kabaliktar naman ng product law ay yung quotient law, no? And it just states that if you have x to the m over x to the n, wherein x are algebraic expressions again, and m and n are integer exponents, yung x to the m over x to the n ay equal sa x raised to m minus n. Okay? So this again, this is easy to prove, no? So kunyari you have 3 raised to 5 over 3 squared. If you expand 3 raised to 5, this is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And then 3 squared is 3 times 3. Then you have to cancel yung mga common terms. Tama? So you are left with 3 threes. Tama? So equal to sa 3 cube, which is also equal to 3 raised to 5 minus 2. Okay? So, an example. So let's do a simple example. Let's do a simple example. Let's say you have x to the 20y squared all over x to the 15y. So again, you can only cancel similar terms. Okay, so yung x muna, yung mga x muna, and then tsaka tayo mag-proceed sa mga y. No? So yung x, so x raised to 20 minus 15 using our formula a while ago. Then y squared minus 1. Okay? So if you simplify this, is this x to the 5y. Okay? Next is, paano naman kung magre-raise tayo ng exponent to another exponent? No? So, kunyari, you have x to the m raised to n. No? So, ito ay equal sa x raised to m times n. So, again, to prove this, you can just expand x to the m. So you can just expand x to the m raised to n, no? So isipin mo, you have x to the m times x to the m times x to the m times x to the m, dot dot dot. Then for example, ito ay n times, no? So basically you have x raised to m n times. So this is m plus m plus m plus m dot 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 dot, wherein ito ay n times, which is x to the m times n. Okay? So for example, you have a simple expression, let's say x to the 10 raised to 5. Ito ay equal lang sa x raised to 10 times 5, which is x to the 50. Okay? So you can also have this for mga fractions, let's say y raised to 2 fifths raised to 10, no? So this will be equal to y times 2 fifths times 10, which will be equal to y times 20 over 5, which is equal to 4. Okay? Next that we need to learn is what we call the power of a product. So ang power of the product just tells us that xy, okay, raised to m ay equal sa x to the m, y to the m. Okay? So pwede mo i-separate yung mga expressions natin. So for example, you have negative 3x squared y cubed raised to 5. Okay? So pwede mo i-separate, no? So ito magiging negative 3 raised to 5 times x squared raised to 5 times y cubed raised to 5. And ang negative 3 raised to 5 ay negative 243. Then x squared raised to 5 using our previous law, this will be x to the 10. And then yung y cubed raised to 5 will be y to the 15. Okay? And then, if meron tayong power of the product, meron din tayong power of a quotient. So, ang power of the quotient, just like power of the product, let's say x over y raised to m, pwede mo i-separate siya to x to the m over y to the m. So, for example, you have, let's say, negative 5x over y cubed squared. Pwede mo tong gawing negative 5x squared all over y cubed squared, and expand mo using the power of a product law. So this will be negative 5 squared times x squared all over y to the 6, okay, using the power law. And this will be equal to 25 x squared over y to the 6. So just some minor rules pa, no? So if you have something, okay, so if you have 0 na exponent, so let's say x to the 0, ito ay always equal to 1. No? So anything raised to 0 is equal to 1. So kunyari 100 raised to 0, ito ay equal sa 1. A raised to 0 equals sa 1. Okay? And then you have the definition of negative exponents. Okay? So negative exponents tells us na if we have x raised to negative n, equal lang to sa reciprocal niya. So 1 over x to the n. No? So kailangan ito positive na. Okay? So ito positive n, ito negative n. Okay? So for example, you have 5 raised to negative 2, equal lang yan sa 1 over 5 squared or 1 over 25. Okay? So that ends our lecture for today. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. And I hope to see you again next time.